Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first week of Sociology 101. My name is Lori Deshoney, and I'm your instructor for this class. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you over the course of this semester. The first thing that we will do during this lecture is open what is called a lecture quiz. This is a simple quiz that's taken along with the lecture, just so that I know that you have been listening to the lecture. So pause this video now, go back into Canvas, look under the first week's module, and you will see a lecture quiz. Go ahead and open that lecture quiz and then come back. You will complete the lecture quiz as you listen to the lecture over all three of our videos today. So just a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Lori Deshoney, and this is a picture of me in the upper right-hand corner. I have been teaching sociology for 13 years, and I've been at Ohlone College for 6 years. I actually had a different career before this one. I used to design clothing and costumes, but I fell in love with sociology in college, and I decided to make that my career. I live in Santa Cruz, California. I do teach on the Ohlone College campus, and I commute from Santa Cruz. It's a really nice drive. I have one son who you can see down here in the lower right-hand corner, and I have one dog here. Her name is Ivy, and she's usually sitting right next to me when I make these videos. So if you look on your lecture quiz, you will see that the very first question is about my dog. It asks what do I have? And it says the answer is one dog. So go ahead and mark that. You might pause the video and then come back. So in the upper left-hand corner is a picture of me and my son and my dad at a Giants game. And I just want to say that I love my job. I love teaching sociology, and I hope that you will enjoy this class. So our first video is really just about the requirements for Soc 101. So I'll begin with the required materials. You only need one book in this class. It's called You May Ask Yourself by Dalton Conley. You may use either the 5th or 6th edition. The publisher is W.W. Norton, and the digital edition is just fine if you want to do it that way. There are other weekly readings and videos listed in Canvas and provided for you there, but really the only thing you need to purchase is the book. Reading is very important in this course because we don't have much lecture time, so you will need to keep up with your reading in order to do well in the course. So this is an overview of the course requirements, and I'm going to go through them next individually. But each week we have weekly lectures and lecture quizzes. We have response journals each week. We have a discussion board in 6 out of the 8 weeks of the course, and then one midterm and one final. So let's go through each of those. So weekly lectures, I create recordings each week for you. There are usually between 2 and 4, maybe there's one where there's 5 each week. They are 15 minutes long. Some of them are shorter, none of them are longer. And these recordings are found under each week's module. Lectures are mandatory. In other words, listening to the lecture recordings is mandatory, and the content in the lectures is important for course success. It will probably not be possible for you to get a good grade in this class without listening to the lectures. You may listen to them at any time. Once they're posted, you can continue to listen to them throughout the course, but the lecture quizzes are due on Saturdays, so you do need to listen to them before the Saturday that the lecture quiz is due. It's really best to listen to the lectures on before Thursdays because I often discuss upcoming assignments and those are due on Thursdays or later. Um, I actually don't really, I have here lecture slides are available the week after the lecture, but I usually don't make the lecture slides available because you have them in the recordings and you can look at them that way. So each week, along with the lecture, we have a lecture quiz. So there are 8 lecture quizzes in the course, and each of them is worth 5 points, so 40 points total. The point of them, you don't need to study for them. Each lecture quiz only has 5 questions, and the only purpose of them is for me to make sure that you have listened to the lectures. So while you're listening to the lecture, be sure you have your lecture quiz open and take your quiz while listening to the lectures, and I give the answers during the lectures. Um, so the way to get the lecture quizzes is to go to modules, go to the week that you're going to listen to the lecture for, like this week, week 1, and then go to this week's assignment and then lecture quiz. And the lecture quiz will open in a new window. Each week of the course, all 8 weeks, we have a response journal. These are short writing exercises which build on your sociological knowledge. Nobody can see them but me. They're not discussion boards. So when you're writing in them, the only people that will see them are you and me. So there are 8 journals during the 8 weeks of the course. So there's one every week, including the first week. I ask you to follow the instructions carefully and answer every question that is proposed there. So there are 7 regular length journals. So the ones that are in weeks 1 through 7 are just a regular length. But the journal in week 8 I call an extended response journal. And this is 20 points because it's double the amount of work as the other ones. The journal in week 6 is a research project, and the journal in week 7 is an interview. So be on the lookout for those, especially the one in week 7. You will have to line up somebody to interview for that one. So discussion boards. These are really important in the classroom, an important component because this is where a lot of learning takes place. It's kind of like our classroom in an online course. We begin the discussion boards in week 1, and then we have discussion boards each week except for in weeks 6 and 8. So we have discussion boards in 6 weeks of the course. There are 2 due dates, and what I'm going to say here is very important. There are 2 due dates in the discussion boards, but only one of them has an alert coming to you from Canvas. So Canvas only alerts you to the second due date. You will have to keep up on the first due date yourself. I do deduct 10% off of any assignments that are late, including just the part 1, which is due on a Thursday. So part 1 is where you answer a prompt, and part 2 is where you respond to 2 of your classmates. You will be placed in discussion groups. I'm going to see how the discussion groups go in the first half of the course, and if they go well, you'll stay in that discussion group for the whole course. If they're not going well, I might shift them around in week 5. But I probably will leave them. So you will be interacting in the discussion group with 8 or 9 of your classmates in the course. It just gets to be, to me, too cumbersome when it's the entire every single person from the course in your group. So you will be interacting mainly student to student. You will be teaching each other during these discussion boards through what you have learned from the lectures and the books. But I also take on a role in the discussion boards. I don't respond to each person each week in each discussion board, but when I respond to any student on your discussion board, if you respond to my response, that counts towards one of your mandatory responses. So again, in part one, you will be responding to a prompt. And in part two, you will be writing responses to your classmates' part ones or to me, the professor. So discussions are the thing that carries the most point value in the course. They are 20 points each, 120 points total. So it looks like I forgot to give you your answer for the second quiz question. It asks you which week is the journal a research project? And the answer to that question is week 6. The journal in week 6 is a research project. Our last requirement are our exams. We have 2 exams in the course, a midterm and a final exam. The midterm begins on Thursday of week 4 and will be open from 12 noon on Thursday to 11:59 p.m., 1 minute before midnight, on Saturday of week 4. The midterm covers the material from weeks 1 through 4, so that's 4 chapters. And there is a study guide available now. You can find it on the top of the modules page. Both the midterm and the final are mostly multiple choice and true-false questions. There are no written responses. There's no fill in the blanks. There's no short answer questions. They are 100% multiple choice or true false. I believe there are between 38 and 40 questions on each exam. You will have 60 minutes to complete the midterm, and you will have 60 minutes to complete the final. You can begin the exam anytime that it's open, but once you open it, you must complete it all in one sitting. There's no pausing. So once you begin, your 60-minute clock starts and you take the exam from there. The final will begin on Wednesday of week 8, our final week in the course, and it will be open from 12 noon on Wednesday until 11:59 p.m. on Friday, which is our last day of the course. The final covers only weeks 5 through 8. It will not include the material from the first half of the course. And there will be a study guide available for the final after the midterm, starting in week 5. There are no makeups at all for either exam, so please plan your schedule accordingly. If you know that you have a schedule conflict this week, in week 1, you can contact me and let me know about the schedule conflict, and we'll talk about it. But if I don't hear from you in week 1, you will not be allowed to take a makeup if you miss either of the exams. So use the study guides to help you guide your reading, and there will be nothing on the exams that's not on the study guides. So that's it for the first video. Please go ahead and listen to the next 2 lecture videos, and I will answer your lecture quiz questions on those. Okay.